This is your first one?
No.
You've had many before. Okay. Just as a reminder, because people do this thing when they get so into what they're talking, they do that. Because of, I don't know, just add strength to what they're saying. So try not to do that, because it's going to shoot vibrations into the mic. Phone is on silent. I guess that's basically it. But you're ready, so we can go on. You guys ready? Cool. That which you're listening to in the background is the Layabouts, also coming through with Pete Simpson. It's called Thank You. And right now, the time is 11 minutes past the hour of 1 o'clock. You're still tuned into Radio Teemaneng with myself, Ella. And as you know, hier by ons ingeskakel het. If you have just tuned in here with us, we are about to have our interview. Now, earlier on, there was a broadcast that happened, and we are going to be having a follow-up interview with that, just to give even more clarification in terms of that broadcast. So we do have the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy, Mr. Satlulele Luzipo, here in studio with me. So we're going to be speaking to him for a bit in terms of the gas amendment bill. But before we get into everything, I hope you're having a wonderful, probably tiring day so far.
Yeah, but we are used to getting used to that.
Yes, you're used to it. All right, so speaking about the gas amendment bill, for the people that maybe follow the broadcast but wasn't exactly sure what it is about, can you just tell them exactly what is the gas amendment bill about and what does it seek to correct?
Well, good afternoon to you, Ella, and the viewers at home and the listenership. Look, the gas amendment bill is proposed amendments by the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy on the need to amend certain sections or certain clauses of the Gas Act of 2001. And therefore, as a committee, we took a decision to do what is called the public consultation before we could deliberate and make our own recommendations to the National Assembly on what do we think has to be done. Obviously, it carries quite a number of issues in terms of the amendment, including the need to amend the Gas Act with regards to penalties or sanctions that can be given to an operator on non-compliance grounds. Amongst those proposals is that an operator can be fined a minimum of 2 million rands per day on the basis of non-compliance. But secondly, the minister or the regulator can also review the license of the operator or do those concurrently if need so demands. So we must say that I think it's important to say this is an act that exists. It's not a new act. So it's amendment to an existing act. Also, there are issues that relate to enhancing the protection of environment, the communities as well as employees, labor, in terms of the health and safety regulations. So there are quite a number, including the mandating the minister to develop a gas master plan with regards to the gas industry, looking at ensuring that there is partnership or cooperation between the private and public operators. So there are quite a number of the areas where there are proposals for amendment. And I must state this in advance, because in some cases people were asking questions on us. It's not what the committee is recommending in terms of amendment. It's what the department is recommending. So we are unable at times to answer on amendments that are not ours. We may go, in fact, we may take a different turn when we deliberate as a committee. So at this stage, it's not something that is owned by us.
All right, I think that was a very important thing to mention, because while we were listening to the broadcast, there were some people also asking about education and other things. So yeah, that's good. But also, with what you spoke about, what are some of the key objectives of this bill? Because I think that's also another important thing to clarify.
Look, I've always been avoiding this question. I don't give a straight answer deliberately. It's difficult to say something that you are still going out to listen to people, because then you could be accused that, but you know what is being meant about this bill. But according to the department, why it needs. It's simple because there are new technologies that now exist, which will not be there. You will recall in 2001, that's almost 21 years ago, you would not have even thought of things like your 4IR, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I doubt even in those years you would have had even a WhatsApp, let alone maybe the dominant thing at that time were Facebook and others. So if you look at the technological developments and other forms or even modes of transport, the Act now seeks now to, according to their proposal, the amendment seeks to augment those areas that they believe that they've been a little bit of a weak link. So that is what I would say, according to the department, are the objectives of those amendments.
When it comes to the people, because a lot of the times, even within the broadcast that we were listening to, they mentioned the communities, the people. What does it have in store for them? Things like that. But answering the question of why it is so important for Parliament to consult with the public, especially when processing a bill.
Look, I said when I was answering one of the questions, I said the worst thing that could happen is when one of the participants yesterday said that there is no need, we elected you to go to Parliament, you should just make a law that favors us. I said that's how dictatorship starts. When people stand aloof and have trust and hope on individual. Our constitution provides that people must at all times be at the center of decision making, and therefore we have always said that the people shall govern. Consultations is always to test the views of the people so that they can help and assist you. For an example, I don't hide it, I'm a much better person now than when the department had introduced the bill. So we get different views, we get different suggestions, we become even ourselves as members of Parliament much wiser than would have been, because some of these people are impacted, some of these people are participants, some of these people are affected by some of those decisions that we are going to take. So it's quite important to go so that you can get a sense of what is the general feeling. In your deliberations, obviously, those are the things that you'll factor in as you deliberate. So it's important to consult with people, not just an exercise of because others were saying no, it's just tick a box. It cannot be. I think we have learned a lot. For me, I've learned a lot out of this exercise.
Yes, and that's how you make a thing work. Not just if I say that goes, hearing from what other people say, how they feel about it as well. So, Mr. Luzipo, would you say that the gas sector is accessible in relation to the new entries?
Look, without sounding prejudicial, look, the gas industry is one strange or one of the areas that historically disadvantaged people have not been able to participate fully. It has been more of a closed industry. It has been more of an industry that you do have some degrees of monopoly. But it depends also on in what context that you are talking about. Because there are different types of gases. There are those that you need extraction, underground, deep sea, but also there is what you ordinarily see that is being used as alternative to energy. But the truth is, it is an industry that has been quite close to new entrants and especially your small scale businesses. They find it quite difficult to penetrate such an industry. And that's what the department therefore suggests now, that with this amendment, at least they want the new entrants to play a fundamental role in terms of the agenda for transformation.
As you mentioned, as an alternative, how can the gas sector be made big enough in such a way that it can offset the power shortage on the national grid?
That's another question. That look, let me explain again why. It's a tricky thing. When you do public hearings, you go to people, you say, we have not discussed, we don't have a view. Even today, I'm sure if you're listening, there were people who were saying, why are you going for gas? When you know that we talk about renewables. We want renewables, not to talk because gas on its own is part of the fossil fuel. So I run away to give an answer. If I say yes, it has got a major role to play, then I negate the submissions from the onset that says, but we are not talking about gas. Let's see, let's look. But the truth of the matter is that it's a fact. Gas is one of the sources, our alternative sources of energy. It is part of our energy mix. How do we need to expand it? My argument will be that I'm not for or against at this stage. I will express my views at the correct time. But the truth of the matter is that there will be a big question. Are we talking about anti-certain sources of energy, or are we talking at looking at new technologies that can reduce emissions? I'm saying those are the discussions that have to flow. But for me, at this stage, I can't say, especially from a chairperson's point of view, they will be within their right to say no, but we already know where you stand on this matter.
Yeah, you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot.
Not at all. I may be quoted where I go that we had from the chairperson saying that gas is going to be one of the centers of energy alternative. I'm not saying I won't say it, but at the right time, I will answer that question without any fear or suspicion.
All right. So, especially now, as you said, how important it is to hear from everyone how they feel about it. Speaking about the public hearings, what are the provisions as the committee made that will be made to cater for those who were unable to come to the public hearings? For instance, will the written submissions also be opened again?
Look, we were allowed in the process of written submissions. I think August, September. I know that they closed in end of September. So we can't, but nothing stops an individual. For an example, if someone would have loved to be present today, that person has got a right to say, yes, I know that written submissions were closed, but for me, if I was in the public hearing in this place, these are the points I would have considered. So I would love that members of the committee, when they make those deliberations, they take into cognizance. In essence, you are not making a submission, but you are speaking in the same way you would have done in the public hearings, because the report will be compiling. It's also going to be used by the same members as a basis of developing their own perspective on the proposed amendment. So yes, you can do the correspondence. I prefer to use that word, not a submission. You can write a correspondence to the secretary of the committee. Then those views will be then submitted to the relevant members.
Okay, we just had, I don't know, is this load shedding or what just happened? Okay, sorry, just give me a second. I have no idea what just happened. Let me just go find out quickly. What just happened?
I don't think so, because that side is still fine.
Production is fine.
Yeah.
The other side?
Okay, I do apologize for this. I'm just trying to figure out what exactly happened.
I think a holding slide. We should put the holding slide on.